I the a-hole for not inviting my daughter to my wedding? I, 46 male, am getting married to my fiancée, 39 female. We have been together for 3 years. I have 2 daughters, 18 female, 9 female, from previous relationships, and my youngest's mother left when she was 6. My fiancée is a very sophisticated person and have exquisite tastes. She also does not really care for young children, and this has created tension between her and my youngest daughter. While our plans have been delayed due to global circumstances, our plans to get married are finally going ahead. It's going to be a very lavish and expensive wedding. Due to the nature of the wedding and my fiancé's preferences, our wedding is also going to be child-free. We will, however, be inviting my oldest as she is no longer a child, and because unlike my youngest, her and my fiancé get along well. However, I didn't realize that my youngest expected to come to the wedding. She tried to tag along with my fiancé and oldest when they were going shopping for a dress for my oldest, because she thought she was going to need a dress too. I explained to her that the wedding was going to be for adults only, and that she wouldn't be attending. She started crying and getting mad, which stressed out my fiancé. She has been distraught about this for days and hasn't let it go. Then my parents came by to visit today, and my youngest told them what had happened. When they asked for clarification on the situation, I explained to them that my daughter wouldn't be attending the wedding because the child-free rule applied to her as well. Besides, this wedding would not be suitable for a child, and I don't want my fiancé to have to deal with my daughter on the most important day of her life. My parents told me I was being a terrible father by prioritizing my fiancé over my daughter, and that on the day of the wedding they would take my daughter out for a special day, which means they wouldn't be in the wedding. I told them they couldn't do that. Even if they didn't attend the wedding, I wouldn't let them take my daughter. And this has become a bigger conflict than I intended. My fiancé and I both think we're in the right for wanting a child-free wedding, but it appears I may lose my parents from the wedding over this, and I want to know if I'm in the right or not. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Yeah, dude. If your fiancé and a 9-year-old don't get along, that's because of an issue with your fiancé. How can you even say, unlike my youngest, her and my fiancé get along well? She's 9 years old. She's a child. It's not up to her to get along with your fiancé. You're the a-hole. She's a 9-year-old. I mean, come on. Your fiancé should not be your fiancé if she can't love your kid. That's about to be her mother, and your prioritization is going to ruin your relationship with your daughter long-term, especially if you don't let her attend the wedding. You're the a-hole. Both you and your fiancé. I hope you change your mind and choose your daughter's happiness over your selfish bride-to-be. Agreed. The kid is a young child. How is she supposed to make a future with the two of you as her parental role models if she gets pushed so far aside? Perhaps allow her to participate in the ceremony and beginning of the reception, then taken out by a sitter. And you guys are a family. It is not your fiancé's day alone. This is a major change for all 4 of you. If your lady is so willing to forget your daughter at this stage of the game, it isn't going to get better. Get ready to pay the therapy bills. You have kids, are marrying a woman who doesn't like kids, are surprised that your younger daughter, who will be a family unit with you and your fiancé, would like to go to the wedding. Go shocked Pikachu face when your parents call you out for being a horrible father. What a better way to let your kid know that they don't matter than to not include them to the ceremony celebrating your union to her new parent. Solid gold a-hole. You're the a-hole, OP. What do you do for an encore? Drop your youngest at a bus stop and wish her good luck in her new life? Throw out her things and turn her bedroom into a walk-in closet for the missus who has refined tastes? Not let your daughter eat dinner with you? Send her off to boarding school, since the new stepmom doesn't like kids. Fortunately, she is very sophisticated and has exquisite tastes, all except for where it applies to men, and how to successfully navigate relationships with their families. You're the a-hole, OP. You may not just lose your parents from the wedding, you're very likely also going to lose your daughter, permanently. You're the a-hole. I don't know why you are marrying a woman who isn't willing to take you and your children as whole package, and you've handled this entire situation terribly. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my twin that she should have worked on herself instead of expecting me to let myself go for her wedding? My twin sister May and I are identical. At the end of our first year of college, I was in a car accident, and I ended up with a facial scar and major trauma. I started seeing a therapist because of the nightmares, and the fact that I was panicking anytime I got into a car. That led to me realizing there were some deeper issues, which we worked on. As part of that work, I got a physical, started working with a dietitian to fix my diet and a smorgasbord of vitamin deficiencies it caused. I started working out, strength training 3 days and sprinter high-intensity interval trainings on 3, with our older sister. By the end of our first year of college, we had each gained about 30 pounds. By the end of the next year, I had lost half of it, but I was smaller at 134 pounds than my previous 120 because of the muscle mass. And that's been my size for the past half-decade. I found a new beautician, and she gave me long layers to make my natural curls be curls instead of wave of frizz I always wanted, but that my old one said would look bad and refused. I stopped bleaching it and let it go its natural dark blonde/light brown. I stopped spray tanning. Again, that's been my look for the past 5 years. I live in a rural area and the internet isn't great. Things like FaceTime just aren't options, and I can't post a lot of pictures on social media because of it. This is relevant because a big issue is that May didn't see me over the quarantine. We talked on phone a couple times a week, but it mostly revolved around her wedding planning. She got engaged before the Rona put us on lockdown. I wasn't her maid of honor, so mostly I was being told decisions, not involved in the process. When it came to the bridesmaids' dresses, May just sent our sister-in-law and me a link and told us to get it in our size. Same with hair and makeup, but we had to arrange for a beautician because May's wouldn't do more than 4, and she wanted her friends at the appointment with her. Then she didn't do a bachelorette party with us. She did with her friends, or rehearsal dinner. So May didn't see any of us until the start of the wedding. She was livid. Apparently, she thought we would have stopped working out because of the Rona, or that we would have stopped when she announced her engagement so we didn't upstage her. She was also mad because I didn't try to hide my scar and didn't tan, and thought it would be implied. She made several snide remarks before throwing a drunk temper tantrum at the reception, basically accusing the 3 of us, but me especially, of trying to upstage her. I don't have that excuse because I was a designated driver, so sober. But I, quite famously, have a low tolerance for angry or crying drunks. I told her, if you're so insecure, you should have got off your butt, instead of expecting us to lay on hours to make yours look better. It only got worse from there. Our family is on my side because I didn't start it or do anything, but Groom's family and her friends are giving me crap. So am I the a-hole? A wedding day is probably the day where your sister should have been the center of attention. Well, she did an exceptional job of that. Now everyone will remember her as Bridezilla. Not the a-hole at all, but I would suggest she works on herself. Maybe appoint a therapy session for both of you to improve this relationship? If both of you want, of course. Not the a-hole. Your sister sounds like a majorly entitled Bridezilla. How are none of you, her bridesmaids, not invited to the bachelorette or the rehearsal dinner? Shaking my head. Yeah, how does that even happen? As bridesmaids, they are part of the wedding party, and therefore should be at the rehearsal dinner. I've never heard of such a thing, but then again, I am older than dirt and times might have changed. Not the a-hole. You went through a lot, and instead of being proud of you for facing your fears, your sister has been incredibly selfish. Seriously, it sounds like she wanted to get married just to feel good about herself, rather than because she truly loves someone. Has she always been like this? To be honest, it's gotten worse since the accident. I don't really know what set it off then, but it's been worse. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for pulling out of my brother's wedding because my old tormentors will be there? My brother Ben is getting married and his fiancée Faith went to the same high school as me. I used to be mercilessly harassed in high school and didn't have any friend, which led to a horrible period of depression and anxiety. I now mainly deal with suppressing those memories and cutting off contact with people I knew from high school. Faith used to be part of a mean girl clique who were especially terrible to me, but to be fair, she was more of a follower of the clique. She never directly mistreated me, but she used to just laugh along when her clique made fun of me. When Ben started dating Faith, I was shocked and had a hard time dealing with it because it brought back what her clique used to do to me. But if I ever bring up something they did, Faith usually just laughs it off, saying she doesn't remember, and that they were probably just young and stupid. It took a lot of convincing by Ben, and a lot of time working on myself for me to finally forgive Faith and accept her as my brother's girlfriend. They are now engaged, and Ben asked me to be his best woman. I accepted, and even agreed to help out with Faith's side of wedding events because her maid of honor has too much on her plate. The wedding planning has been going smoothly so far, until Faith told me she was going to invite her high school clique to her bachelorette party when she can have it. I immediately felt the old anxiety come back, and asked her if they will be invited to the wedding too. She said yes, and learning that nearly crushed me. I spent some time thinking about it, and I don't think I could be at the wedding if those people are there. Faith at least never tortured me herself, so I can handle it. But seeing her gang leaders again would very likely trigger my depression. Or worse, send me into a panic attack at the wedding itself. I told Ben that I might need to pull out of the wedding because of that. But I can still help however I can with the wedding planning, as long as I don't come in contact with Faith's old gang. Ben is very upset, and says I'm only thinking of myself. And clearly I don't want to be at his wedding because I still don't accept Faith as his future wife. He also told me I should move on from whatever happened in high school. But even if I try to do that, a high-stress event like this wedding would be the worst time to test if moving on works. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. I'm sick and tired of people telling emotional scarred victims to move on because it wasn't childhood. I know people are horrible accepting any kind of consequences, but rarely what type of mistreatment is so dismissed and mocked as the school abuse. Oh, it's fine. You spent your formative years tormented by your peers. Why can't you move on? The whole situation is so ridiculous. As if just because it was fellow children tormenting you, it's suddenly fine? And then we're labeled as pathetic, because in our adulthood we have to deal with the consequences of it that was indeed carried out by, at the time, children, but also supported and endorsed by adults. People whose job should have been protecting us and setting a good example. Nope. To hell with that. She will never stop triggering you. And the least you can do for yourself is not go to the wedding to have a smile on the face of the people who tormented you. Mind you, you are being considerate. You have trauma. There is no guarantee you'll be able to look happy at the wedding no matter how hard you try. An unhappy guest at a wedding is a crappy guest. You're doing them a favor. Also, Faith remembers full well. Do with that info as you will. But she's full of it when she claims she forgot. If she were truly worthy of your forgiveness, she'd have a big talk with you, deeply apologize with no excuses, acknowledge your trauma, and disinvite her clique because they are her high school friends and you are her sister-in-law. This, just all of this. OP not a-hole, but everyone else in this story is. Not a-hole. Fiancée never apologized for what she and her friends put you through. She just made excuses. Have you told her how upsetting it is to see those people? Talk to her directly. If she blows you off, you know she doesn't care about you and has no loyalty to family. You would not be the a-hole if you pull out of the wedding because of that. I haven't told Faith because I thought it would cause less drama if I told my brother. And I'm at a wedding party on my brother's side too, so it makes more sense. Plus, Faith knows I didn't want her around at the beginning of their relationship, which caused a rough patch for all three of us. So I learned that it's better to talk to Ben directly than talking to Faith and then having it come back to Ben as me having an issue with her. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling future sister-in-law she was wasting her parents' money on a wedding? I, 32 female, have a brother Andre, 34 male, who is engaged to Molly, 30 female. We come from a humble middle-class family that values hard work with their hands, farmers and factory workers. Andre is a factory supervisor at a car parts manufacturing business, and I help manage an apartment complex. Molly, however, comes from a family with money. Her parents grew up poor, but her dad worked a good line job in the 90s. Her mom was a corporate lawyer, and now her family's loaded. Both her siblings and her have what I call a spoiled complex. Molly and Andre revealed yesterday that they would be having a big, beautiful wedding. They began listing things off that they want: limo, dress designer, venue, etc. When I mentioned how expensive all that would be, Molly said she wasn't worried. When I asked why, she said her parents gave her $50,000 cash for her wedding, as they believe it is the responsibility of the bride's parents to pay for the wedding. Yes, I live in the States. I couldn't believe it. I felt Molly was spending money frivolously. I told her she should invest that money instead of having a huge wedding. She promptly told me that whenever I get a man, that I can do just that, and to not tell her what to do with her money. Andre chuckled, but I didn't find it funny. It is not her money, it's her parents. Molly's a teacher and doesn't make that much, So I think this is a great opportunity to get ahead financially. Andre, of course, took her side and told me to mind my business. Then today, Andre called me. We talk often, and I asked if he was seriously going to let her waste $50,000 in one day. He said that's not his place to tell her how to spend her family's money, but I disagree. Andre told me to mind my own business again, but I think he's making a mistake marrying someone who just throws money around. I must have been on speakerphone because Molly responded with, "And that's why you're single, because you can't mind your damn business." She then called me jealous, and Andre's on her side. I'm not jealous, but I know weddings shouldn't be that much. Andre said Molly knows how to handle money because her parents taught her, but I think this is a mistake. And my parents agree that Molly's just flaunting wealth for no reason. But Andre says Molly's more financially responsible than any of us, stating she helps him manage his 401k and started a Roth IRA for him when they met. But I just can't believe that she's financially responsible if she's going to waste $50,000 in one day. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. You do sound jealous that Molly's family's able to and wants to help her out. Get off your high horse. You're the a-hole. In Molly's words, mind your own business. People get to spend their money however they see fit. Cracks me up that Opie said, it's not her money, it's her parents. Yes, Opie, that's literally the point. It's not your money, it's her parents' money. Now her and brother's money. And her parents decided to gift it to her and Andre for their wedding. Molly was also on point with that. She promptly told me that whenever I get a man, that I can do just that, and to not tell her what to do with her money. That's fact. Opie can have a frugal wedding when she marries, but she can't tell people what to do with their money for their wedding. You're the a-hole. Also, the money was earmarked by her parents for the wedding. So if anything, she's respecting their wishes for their money by using it for the purpose it was intended. The point is moot regardless, since it is her money considering they gave it to her, but just another way that Opie's logic is flawed. I hate to break it to you, but you're the a-hole. Molly's right, you should mind your own business. It's not your money nor your wedding. I could understand if it was your parents' money that you might be upset, but this is her parents' money. And if they want to spend $50,000 on a wedding, they can. If you want to continue to have a relationship with your brother and his future wife, just leave the situation alone.
Am I the a-hole for disowning my adoptive son since he chose his people over us? I'm 44, my husband is male 40, been married for 20 years, together for 22, and our adoptive son is male 24. He's black, and we're not. I'm only mentioning this because it's relevant to the story later. This does not take place in the US, and English is not my first language. Let me give a little bit of background to the situation. About 19 years ago, me and my husband had been driving on a highway, back from a small vacation, when along a particularly long stretch of road, absolutely no buildings around, only a ton of grass and hills as far as the eye could see, we spotted a little boy just sitting by the side of the road. Like I mentioned, there was nothing around for miles, and no cars close to where the boy was, so we decided to stop and see if everything was okay. When we got closer to the boy, let's call him Jason, fake name, it was very easy to see he was dirty and malnourished, since the only thing he had on were some diapers. He was so small it didn't look like he could be older than 3, later found out he was actually 5. We asked him why he was alone, and he told us that mommy and daddy put him here and told him to wait. There was no cell signal in the area, so we did a sensible thing and brought him back to the town to the nearest police station. To make a long story short, CPS was called. We discovered his parents were some druggies that were on the run for a felony. The only other relative Jason had was his grandmother, who was very mentally ill and couldn't take care of him, and we felt bad. He went into foster care soon after, but we felt bad for the kid and kept in touch with his caseworker. I had, still do, an extremely well-paying job at a time and could easily afford a decent lifestyle for a small family. So after a few months of discussion between ourselves, the caseworker and some bureaucracy, we formally adopted Jason. Now onto the situation. About 3 years ago, Jason's parents were released from prison on parole. They contacted him not long after in hopes of reconnecting. Prior to that, they'd sent him a few odd letters here or there, but nothing really substantial. At first, he was hesitant to talk to them, but ended up caving and meeting them for lunch one day. I'll admit that a part of me was a bit jealous and apprehensive of what could happen. But I could see that it really was something that my son wanted to do, so for his sake, I swallowed those and supported him through it. It wasn't very long, about 3 months, I think, that he started to pull away from us. At first, I chalked it up to him being excited to actually talk to his bio parents after so long, talk about what had been going on in his life, spend some time with them, etc. It started to bother me when he'd cancel plans with us last minute because mom had an emergency or dad really needs me to help with him something today or whatever other excuse he could come up with. He used to come over to our house at least once a week, call every day or so, but now we were lucky if he even came by that month. Again, I thought that was just temporary, that he was just excited, and soon enough he'd start spending some time with us again. We were overjoyed when he invited us over to dinner one night. It was supposed to be a family gathering, us and his bio parents and his wife, girlfriend at a time. I wasn't exactly keen on meeting the people that had left my son for dead on the side of the road, but decided to give them the benefit of the doubt, thinking maybe they'd atoned and changed. Besides, he's our son, and we love him. We had to at least try. To say the dinner was a disaster is an understatement. His bio mom was extremely rude to me and my husband the entire night, making passive-aggressive, bigoted, and racist remarks every chance she got. His father was much the same. It all came to a head when she straight up called us some slurs and threw a glass at my husband. A screaming match followed and we left soon after. The next day, Jason apologized profusely and promised they'd never do something like that again. I told him neither me nor my husband wanted to have anything to do with him and would appreciate if he understood that. He seemed to, but continued to pull away the next few months. And that leads to what happened last week. Jason proposed to his girlfriend about 9 months back and has been preparing for the wedding since. Of course, we were overjoyed for him, but a few months went by and no invitation came. Every time we asked, Jason would say they hadn't been sent out yet and changed the subject. Well, last week my husband saw a Twitter post from one of Jason's friends, his groomsman, that went a few weeks back with the invitation in hand. We confronted Jason about it the next time he came over, only for him to drop the bomb on us that we hadn't been invited. We asked why, and he said his parents didn't want us there, and wouldn't come if we did. I was freaking furious. I asked him how could he choose those pieces of trash over us, why they were so important. What did we do to deserve this kind of treatment? His answer? They understand me better. They're my people. At this point, my husband was crying, asking how could he do this. I've only ever been truly angry a few times in life, and this moment managed to top all of them. I threw him out right then and there and told him to never come back, that he wasn't our son anymore. I spent the rest of the day hugging my husband and trying to calm him down. The next day, I canceled everything we'd paid for the wedding, which was basically everything important, even the ones we couldn't get a refund on. Of course, Jason had a gall to call and scream at me, asking how I could do that to him. Where would he find replacements for a wedding that was supposed to happen only a few months from now? I told him I didn't care, and said, maybe you should ask those 2 leeches you call parents for some help. 19 freaking years of my life spent raising and loving a kid that I considered my own son, only to be treated like garbage. Giving blood, sweat, tears, so he could have a good life. All the love we could possibly give. And that's what we get as a reward? As for why I'm asking if I'm the a-hole, some people have been calling and messaging us, mostly Jason's friends and a few of our family members, calling us heartless and monsters for doing what we did to him. And that's honestly got me questioning if I went a bit too far in anger. After all, parents are supposed to love unconditionally, right? But if so, how do we ever get over something like this? How can we deal with this feeling of betrayal? Are we justified in feeling like that? Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Info. Did Jason receive therapy growing up? Did you have family therapy? When the bio parents returned, were you open with Jason about your feelings? Raising him, did you expose him to a black community and discuss the complexities of race? Yes, he did receive therapy. As for exposing him to the black community, I know this is different in the US, but over here we don't really have a black culture. The whole country is pretty diverse, even more so in the city we live in, so he did get a lot of exposure to other black people. At least a third of his classmates were black. He did get very into US black culture when the internet started becoming more accessible here, and we did encourage him a lot. He did face some racism growing up, and we of course helped him through it. Forget everything else. Why would you pay for a wedding you aren't even invited to? I wonder if all the people calling and messaging them to tell them they're heartless know they're not even invited to the wedding. Not only this, but Jason made it seem like they were invited because he knew it was messed up. He kept saying that invites weren't out yet and stringing them along. He only admitted it when they saw the pictures of someone with an invite from months before. He was perfectly happy to let them pay and keep them in the dark as long as possible. At this point, he wants the love and family of his bio parents, but the money and support from the people that took him in and raised him. He might not 100% realize what he's doing, but that's what's happening. Not the a-hole. Did he seriously expect you to pay for a wedding you weren't even invited to? The damn audacity of it has my blood boiling. Learning it from his new parents. His learning leeching from some of the best. Next story. Am I the a-hole for saying I wouldn't allow my brother and his kids live with me when I buy my house? Hi, so I've been saving to put a down payment down on a house in Brooklyn. It's been hard saving and skipping night outs, etc., but I've always wanted to have something in my name so that later in life it will pay off. I never usually tell my family about me making big decisions because in some way they always try to spin it to try to benefit them. I told my mom that I'm excited about a house I saw. It's in Brooklyn, but in the suburb of Brooklyn. The house needs some work. New driveway, paint. I definitely would redo the kitchen. I've always been handy and I could do most of this stuff myself or figure it out. I've fixed/worked on my car by watching videos on YouTube, so I would probably do the same with the house. But I wouldn't mess with the plumbing or electrical work. It is a decent-sized house. Has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and has a decent-sized yard. I told my mom about it, and she told my older brother. It's him, his wife, and 3 kids. They live about an hour and a half north, but he also works in the city like me. He called me and told me how our mother told him about the house. He does work as an electrician and said he could help if I needed. I thought, oh wow, that's great. He has his own house up north as well. I've been approved for the loan and waiting on paperwork, etc. He just called me today and asked me when is he and the kids are moving in because he has to ask off work to move things. I was so confused because I thought he was just messing with me. So I said, wait, what are you saying? He said that he offered to do electrical work in the house so he and his kids should be able to live there. I explained to him in what world does he believe doing electrical work equates to him living in a house that is mine. He started to go on about how having multiple kids is expensive and commuting every day for work is costly. I simply said that is not my problem. You are an adult. I hung up on him. My mom called me screaming, saying, why am I promising to let my brother stay in the house and now changing my mind? I never promised anything to him, and it's annoying that he is trying to manipulate the situation. I told my mom that he offered to do electrical work, and now he's saying he is moving in. I told her he is not moving in, and I'll hire someone else to do the work. She started to tell me they're close to losing their house and need help, and that I should, because we are family. I asked her, why is it that the people who are telling someone else to help, always the ones not offering help? My mom telling me to help, but she's not offering for them to stay with her. I said it's not going to happen. Majority of my family have been calling me and saying I am disgraceful. It's so annoying because I don't want my brother on the street with his family. But what if I never got the house? They would have still been in the same predicament. I refuse to help. It makes me not even want to buy the house. Not the a-hole. Their housing is not your problem. And them being about to lose their home means they don't have the means to pay you. So you'd be housing freelancers who would be establishing residence rights. Everyone who calls can offer accommodation or shut up. Exactly. They're yelling at me for not helping, but they themselves haven't offered anything. Call up brother and say you talked to mom and she would be happy to take them in. Your family sucks. Your mom is likely to blame. Boundaries are your friend, not the a-hole. Yeah, there's no such thing as that in my family. That's why I usually do everything secretly. They don't even know what I do for work. Don't even give them the address at this point. I smell boundary stompers. Not a-hole. They're just trying to use and abuse you. Don't let them move in and don't even let them come in at this point if they show up there. I never usually tell my family about me making big decisions because in some way they always try to spin it to try to benefit them. I told my mom, dude, all the people phoning to berate you can either open their homes to your brother and his family or all chip in to pay his rent. and put them all on a strict information diet. Block the flying monkeys and go low contact with your mom and brother for a while. Why are you knowingly giving them so much power over you? I think even when we know we have quite toxic families and are best off being low contact, when big life events happen, there's still this desire to share it with our moms and somehow magically hope we will get a nice response. Unfortunately, we always get disappointed. OP is aware. I feel sad for you, OP. Your family sucks. But you sound clever and resourceful. Congratulations on a house and don't give family the address. Last story. Am I the a-hole for asking my aunt to not bring her kids when she comes to see us? My 16 male brother Danny, 17 male, currently is in at-home hospice care. He has metastasized bone cancer, and he's conscious but in bad shape, and understandably pretty upset with the way things has gone down. The doctors are saying 3 to 5 weeks. Our parents chose not to tell him, and he blew up at them, and there was a crap ton of screaming and crying. He's living in the living room since the stairs are a no-go, and life as we know it is finally approaching its bitter end. We've reached a part where family is starting to come and say goodbye, and my aunt is due to come with her family next week. Danny wants there to be no kids because they're stressful. He doesn't have the patience he used to have, and he gets really angry. And it's really not an environment where kids should be playing. It's not just small children, it's me too at times, but Dan apologizes and we go back to being bros. Anyway, my aunt has 3 boys under the age of 10 and she plans on bringing them all. We're not close with these kids, we don't like them, and our mom told the both of us that we have to make an effort for her sister. Our 7-year-old niece, who we are close to, was here last week, and she messed up by standing on his IV line, and he exploded at her and screamed, "You're messing up everything, you stupid bee," because his brain isn't working like how it used to. I basically said screw it and called my aunt, explained that Danny can't handle her kids, and asked that she not bring them. She blew up at me, and told me that I didn't have the right to tell her who can and cannot set foot in her sister's house, and she's not coming at all now. This has obviously caused a huge amount of stress in the family, and my mom had crying breakdown this morning at me, called me an a-hole and a bastard, and threw a salt shaker at me. But she's living in her own world and not doing anything, so I told her that back. Danny's out of it. My mom says I'm the a-hole and my dad is constantly working since he can't face the music. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not a-hole. You're a good sibling. And if your parents are too caught up in their grief, at least Danny has you there to help share his needs and wants with others. Sending you and your family my very best during this unbelievably difficult time. I am so proud of Opie for voicing his brother's needs to their aunt. An absolutely courageous stand to make as a teen in such an awful situation. I hope all the love in the replies here bolsters his spirits. He's doing so well. Not a-hole. This time should be about making your brother as comfortable as possible. Yes, the family wants to visit and say goodbye, but his well-being and mental state are what matters most. As a mother, I cannot comprehend putting someone else's wishes and wants in front of my dying child's wishes and needs. This is an upsetting time for everyone, and bringing impressionable children around when they most likely will not understand the enormity of the situation and behave accordingly is crazy. Yes, your mother needs support from her sister, but your aunt should, as an adult, realize the kids will cause unnecessary chaos. I deeply feel for you and your family, and wish you all as much love and peace as possible in this devastating time. Thank you. I hope your kids are always well. The priorities here are your brother, you, your parents, then other people. It sucks that you have to be the adult, but as I don't have to tell you, everything sucks. If kids tire brother out, then no kids. They can make drawings. Tell them they can yell at you in a year when you've all had time to grieve. Okay, now to you. Do you have anyone, older, trustworthy, that you can bring in like today? Friends, parents, other cousins, uncles, anyone? I hear you giving dad a pass, but no, he's not allowed to escape in work when something of this magnitude is being parked on a 16-year-old kid. Mom seems like she truly is out for now, so dad has to help find another adult to run logistics, interference, and support. It's awful, but you're not alone. The YMCA often has bereavement gatherings, or the hospital, or the hospice. There's a whole known set of stresses unique to being the healthy sibling, and feeling guilty, and deserving of care, because your brother's needs are so great and time limited. But you are a son, a brother, a child, losing someone important, and you matter too. This is all too much for the adults. It's way, way, way too much for a 16-year-old. You need support and someone you can put between you and a whole aunt. I hope for a peaceful, loving, pain-free passing for your brother and people who can envelop you and your parents, so you can be given the care and space you need. Is there any way I can fix my relationship with my dad, even though he disowned me and made it clear he wants nothing to do with me? I'm 26 female. My mom is 45 and dad is 46. It's going to be a long and harsh ride, but I'm okay with being cussed, abused, cursed, because I very much deserve and numb to them after going through this much. Never in my life have I thought I'd be in this place. My life is a mess right now. I'm the only child of my parents. They met when they were as young as 16 and had me when my mom was 19 and dad 20. That was an unplanned pregnancy. My father is no less than a man any woman would want to be with. He cooked, worked, did everything, literally kissed the ground my mom walked on. I never thought him of being unreasonable or anything negative. He was a family man, but someone you'd live to be with. My mom is cool too. She was always there for me and helped me out however she can. My dad wanted to have more kids, but my mom didn't. Never told me why. When I was 16, mom was 35 then, my dad had an accident and became bedridden for 7 months. Though we never had to worry about finances, I studied at a private school. We are not from the States, but still it costs a lot where I'm from. There were bills, so my mom got a job and the following months she was in my dad's shoes. She did everything, and I too helped her out with chores sometimes. Here's the kicker. She met someone and became emotionally involved. One day, dad was bedridden for 5 months at that point, if I remember right. She came to my room and silently broke down crying after my dad dozed off. She told me she likes someone from work. She isn't attracted to my dad. This whole ordeal is too much for her. She has needs too. She showed me her text messages and told me about the guy. He was 26 at the time. They were flirting. I was young at that time. Seeing her break down broke my heart. I wasn't close to my dad as much as I was to my mom because my mom was the one to spend more time with me than my dad at the time. I know it sounds stupid, but I was a teenager then. I told her I understood and I'd cover for her. She began coming home later. We both told dad it was just her work. I never got involved until one day my mom told me she wanted me to meet and discuss a very important topic. We went out and I met that guy for the first time. He was a creep. Shaggy clothes and nothing like my dad. I don't even know why would my mom choose this a-hole over my dad. We sat down at a fancy dinner place and my mom told me she was expecting a baby. I was like, what? They had the audacity to kiss right in front of me. I was pathetically disgusted by them. I told them what they planned. She told me she doesn't know. She wants to keep this baby, but she loves my dad too. It was an awkward time and we came home that night. We talked that night and she said she wants to keep the baby. I again naively chose to keep my mouth shut. So after this, my mom drops the news to my dad that she's pregnant. And my dad is delighted but visibly worried, as finances are still in the question. So in the next 2 months, he begins to do exercise and therapy so he could go to work again. Even after doctor said he still needs time. He resumes work and put my mom into the stay-home mom position like before. Her affair was short-lived. When my brother was born, my dad didn't sign the birth certificate. He bought a set of paper but refused to tell me what it is. Mom was still in C-section and he never told me what happened. He refused to acknowledge my brother. When my mom was brought home, he told her he wants a divorce. It hit my mom like a truck. She literally had a mental breakdown. She kept begging and crying hysterically. My dad was indifferent and told her he knows everything. Said he regrets ever having me because I'm an ungrateful and entitled selfish person just like her. They had an argument when I was holding my brother. He called her a whore and that she couldn't keep her legs closed and wants him to raise the child of infidelity. My mom kept crying and begging for forgiveness. He packed up his bags and left. They got divorced, which took 8 months to be finalized. I don't know much details, but dad would pay spousal support for my mom and child support for me. Mom got the house, and beside this, everything was settled. He willingly gave away primary rights of me to my mom, even refused having weekends, just supervised visitations. He never once reached out to me. I reached out to him countless times throughout during and after divorce, but never did once he wanted to be involved in my life. When I turned 18, he called me once. I remember I was elated that day. But to my surprise, he was cold. He just told me he hopes I stay happy and that he forgives me for what I did, but can't never forget he was betrayed by his own blood. He told me he disowns me. It hit me hard, harder than I ever hoped. I remember I fell on the ground and cried. I called my mom names and that she ruined our family. I even cussed my brother, that he is a constant reminder of what she did, and I can't ever have a father again. After divorce, mom never really dated anyone. She got into depression and got into a crappy but decent paying job, rented out one of the rooms in the house to make ends meet. She still celebrated her wedding anniversary, cries sometimes. My brother often asks about his father, but I don't have an answer except for we don't have one. It's been 9 years since the divorce. Mom never really moved on. She occasionally hooks up but never thought of settling down. She thinks working for $60K a year job and getting rent from a single room is enough to make ends for the rest of our lives. My dad, on the other hand, got his life together. Started a business, remarried, and has a son. I often scroll his profile. He never accepted my friend/follow request and ignores my texts. But what I've learned is he's living a great life. I know I don't deserve to say it. I am much to blame as much as my mom for destroying our lives and my brother's lives. But I miss my dad. I miss him a lot. I miss the times we had as a family. I went through heartbreaks, graduation, I was in an accident, and I didn't have my dad beside me. It feels like my insides are screaming. I tried to meet him, but when he found out I wanted to meet him, he moved to another city. I had a son last year. He looks so much like my dad. I want to name him after my dad and I want him to meet him. I'll be getting married by the end of this year, and I want nothing more than my dad to walk me down. I messed up. I want him to scream at me, tell me I don't deserve to be his daughter. I want him to be angry, but I want him in my life. I want my dad. All these years, and not a single day goes by I don't miss him. I've sent long emails explaining and apologizing, but no response. I met him once, November 2020. I walked up to him and said hi. He was with his son and wife. He looked up straight in my eyes and replied, "Who are you?" When I told him I was his daughter with tears in my eyes, he said he doesn't have one and walked away. I was with my fiancé. He consoled me. My dad is by no means a bad person. He did everything any normal person in his shoes would. I know I don't have the right to apologize or even ask him for anything. But for once, I want him to acknowledge me. I just want him to acknowledge me for a single day, which is on my wedding. And I want him to look me in the eye and tell me I'm his daughter. Now for the comments. I know you were young, but I think it really crossed the point of no return when you saw him pushing himself against doctor's orders and possibly harming himself for a baby you knew wasn't his, and just said nothing. There is a level of wrong that even being young and in a bad position between your parents can't excuse, and that was it. Just stop. Everything you typed here is about you. You clearly don't care about his pain or what he wants or needs because you keep hurting him to try to get what you want. You're showing him every time you reach out and push his boundaries that you're still selfish, still only thinking of your want and still don't care about his feelings. All you're doing is making it clear he made a right choice for his own well-being. Just stop. Fact. She was trying to play it off as I was only a teenager and pretty stupid. Yeah, teenagers can be stupid and make mistakes, but they're not stone-cold-hearted and ruthless. How can you look at your dad every single day for months while he's literally bedridden, knowing what your mom is making him go through? She's making herself out to be the victim, but imagine knowing that your wife and daughter have no shred of empathy for you after you took care of them for decades. This sub is unreal. I've seen many posts from teenagers younger than you that outed a cheating parent and are praised for it. For some reason, everyone is now saying it's not your fault. You were just a kid. You were manipulated. I don't get it. You were 16 and knew it was wrong. You didn't tell your father. In fact, you helped your mother cheat. To top it off, you were complicit in trying to pass off another man's kid onto your father. You made your choices and your father made his. Now all of you have to live with them. I don't see myself as an innocent victim. I know damn well I had a part in it too. I participated in it and actively helped mom. I know my dad is hurting and very angry, and more than that, I know I don't have a tiny bit of right to ask for forgiveness for what I did. I wish just for one single day he can forgive me and be my dad. I want him to acknowledge me just for once. He won't. From the sounds of it, this is something that he's going to take to his grave. And if I were you, I think you'd be better off no longer trying, because it's just hurting you. There may come a point, of course, when he does come to make contact, but that has to be on his own terms. And at that point, you have to decide what you want to do about it. Your mother has a screw loose. What in the world was she thinking? Talking to her underage child about her sex life with another man, showing texts, and trying to get you to cover for her? She should have never tried to recruit you or put you in the middle of that. You're right, but I guess everyone has their own issues. I don't blame my mom for what she did. I also don't blame my dad for what he did. My mom got carried away and essentially destroyed her family. I never would forgive her for that, but I can't cut her off from my life. Because I lived with her for 5 years after divorce, from 17 till 22, during which I saw how remorseful she was. It was only when I moved out at 23 she finally tried to move on by hooking up, but even then she couldn't. She was overcame with grief. I don't blame my mom for what she did. You should. She did a lot. Forced you to take on a massive secret, abandoned her sick husband, cheated on him, and tried to pass off another man's baby as his. Go get therapy with your brother and try to move on from your father. Even though you were only 16, your actions killed your father's love for you. And unfortunately, you have to accept that. Do you have anyone else that could possibly give you away at the wedding? No one. We are expats. My father got a job here and thus we settled down. We are originally from Syria. It was just us, me, mom, and dad. Then he left us. Mom got into crippling depression. We don't have any family here. He's ended your relationship and move on. Let him move on. You need to move on as well. This is the best thing for all parties. I guess you're right. I'll try. Thank you. Last story. I'm happy my sisters got their karma after hiding my husband's affair. I don't know where to start. The story happened 13 years ago. I've been previously married to my ex-husband. Let's call him John. We've met in college and immediately hit it off. I thought this man was the love of my life, my soulmate, the father of my future children. Boy, I was wrong. 3 years into our relationship, he proposed. I said yes because I loved him with all of my heart. Looking back, it was the biggest mistake of my life. After being married for a year, I got a random message while laying on my couch and eating. I checked it, and it was from a woman named Lisa. She started apologizing and talking about how she was my husband's girlfriend. My heart sank, and I almost choked on my food. She started swearing up and down that she never knew he was married, that she only found out recently when he confessed to her and wanted to break things off because he was feeling guilty about cheating on me. I was destroyed and started crying, so that's why he's been so loving these days. That's why he started taking me out a lot. I realized a lot of red flags while rethinking my entire marriage. I decided to confront him when he got home. He tried to deny it at first, but started crying after confessing. He said he wanted to fix things and to go to marriage counseling. I immediately declined. You're the one who ruined our marriage. Why am I supposed to go? I started packing my bags while he cried, but your sisters know. That made my heart drop. Basically, my 2 sisters knew about his affair but didn't tell me because he wanted to fix things. I didn't know how I managed to drive my car without crashing. I was filled with anger, rage, sadness. At least I slapped the living crap out of that bastard before leaving. Once I got to my sister's house, I started screaming about how could they do this to me. I'm their sister. They tried to calm me down, but it made me angrier. They said I should just get over it and let my husband fix his mistake. At that moment, I saw red. I pulled my sister's hair. Then she begged me to let go, but I didn't. My other sister pulled me away and I proceeded to slap her. I was so angry. How could they take my husband's side? I'm the one who got cheated on and betrayed by my sisters. Our parents died when we were young, so our aunt raised us until she passed away. That's why they're the only family I have. And I got betrayed by them? I left the city, divorced and heartbroken, moved to another state to start a new life. I quit my job to start a new one in the city. That's where I met my now husband, Mike. He was so sweet to me, which I didn't think much of. I thought he treated everyone the same, but he didn't. He was talking normally to other coworkers, but was sweet to me. I developed a crush on him, but got scared my feelings would get hurt again. It was a shock when he was the one who confessed and asked me to be his girlfriend. I hesitated but said yes. We started dating for 3 years and they were the best years of my life. He helped me heal a lot from my previous betrayals. We got married and had 2 beautiful girls. I love my family so much. My husband is the best and my daughters are the sweetest. They're the best thing that happened to me. We've been together for 10 years, married for 7. As for my ex-husband, he got recently divorced after cheating on his wife. I wasn't shocked, but I felt bad for his wife. The bastard tried contacting me and crying about how it was the biggest mistake of his life, but I blocked him. I still have my old email and I forgot about it. My 2 sisters contacted me there too. One got dumped by her boyfriend after he cheated on her and kicked her out of their apartment. The other also got cheated on, and her husband stole her car to run away with his affair partner. Me and my husband read the email together and started laughing. I'm happy they're getting their karma. Now they know how I felt. They wanted me to help them and to reconcile, but I just wrote "get over it" and blocked them. I don't need garbage in my life. I only need my husband and daughters. I'm so thankful and grateful for my family. God bless them. I got to live happily while the people who betrayed me are miserable. To be honest, I'm glad my ex cheated. If it wasn't for his infidelity, I wouldn't have met my wonderful husband. God, I love that man so much. Karma always make an appearance at the right time. We really cannot choose our own family, and blood's definitely not always thicker than water. So happy for you that you found your person. Damn, the women in your family have had it rough. And so did your ex's second wife. But congrats on having an awesome, happy family now. Can you imagine taking the bastard husband's side over their own sister? How did they both agree to this? My brother-in-law would have lost a limb if he did that. My kids would be in so much trouble if they sided with person that cheated on their sibling. I don't care how old they get be. I didn't raise a troop of butt monkeys. If my sister would have found out my husband was having a secret affair, I would have found out immediately upon seeing him afterwards because I would have asked, "Husband, why are you castrated?" I'm sorry your sisters betrayed you, shaking my head. If I knew my sister's husband was having an affair, I'd tell her the second I found out, even if it meant calling her in front of him. Karma's a bitch, and I'm glad they got what was coming to them while you were getting the happiness you deserve.
Am I wrong for telling my fiancée that if I see her friend again, I'm calling the cops? Plus update. Original post. Me, 29 male, and Erica, 27 female, dated for 2 years and have been engaged the last 4 months. After we got engaged, Erica moved into my house. I still pay the mortgage while she pays for utilities, groceries, and household items. After we get married, the plan is to put her on the house so she gets equity as well. Her friend Leah, 27 female, and her have been best friends since high school. I don't particularly like Leah, but have also been cordial as I know she's gonna be in my life. My issue is Leah thinks of my home as hers. Couple examples. She always brings her boyfriend over and he's a sketch ball. She talks to me in a very disrespectful way in my own house, like I'm a guest and she and Erica own it. One day I went out to my garage and some of my tools were missing. I checked my camera and Leah and her boyfriend were in my garage with Erica and took some tools with them. I asked Erica and she said they were just borrowing and would return them. I had to reach out multiple times for them to finally return the tools weeks later. I have a nice wine and liquor collection and I was working late one Friday. While working, I heard some clanking of bottles together. Erica wasn't home so I went out to see what was up. Leah was behind my bar. I asked what she was doing, and she said that Erica told her it was okay to borrow a bottle of wine for her party and that she would pay it back. I told her no, that wasn't all right, and to leave. I asked Erica about this, and she said, I don't remember telling Leah she could take a bottle, but I might have. I don't remember. I told her at this point I wasn't comfortable with Leah being in my house. Erica sorta understood, but also blew me off. Final straw came when I wanted to go hit some golf balls, and my clubs were missing. I freaked out because I golf regularly, and my clubs are my biggest investment. Went to check the camera again and Leah used my garage code and took the clubs. I blew up, called Erica and told her to get them back immediately. Erica said Leah had asked for the garage code to grab some clothes from her closet, and not my clubs. I threatened to call the police, but Erica stopped me. Leah kept telling us that her boyfriend needed them for a work thing. I got them back almost 4 days after they were taken, and they were dirty. At this point, I sat Erica down and told her that if I see Leah in my house again, then I'm calling the cops. No discussion. Erica got upset, saying that it's her best friend, and that wasn't fair to do to her in our house. I said it's a pattern, and since Erica's stuff isn't affected, she doesn't care. I said she can go over to Leah's if she wants to see her. She said she can't do this because Leah doesn't like her apartment, and Leah's boyfriend is always there, which makes Erica uncomfortable. I'm now getting the silent treatment and getting called an idiot. But I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Do not put this woman on the deed to your home. Heck, don't marry her. You don't have a Leah problem, you have a fiancé problem. Time to move on, buddy, not the idiot. I agree. OP, open your eyes. Agreed, Erica is allowing this to happen. There are a lot of boundary issues that show as red flags. The fact that Leah has your code and lets herself in without letting anyone know is a problem. And you can truly see that Leah does not care one bit. She got outed multiple times on camera, got caught nicking a bottle of wine, and did not give a single crap. Leah does not respect the OP, plain and simple, and Erica is fully endorsing this behavior in their house that she does not own any part of. I'm starting to think Leah did, in fact, have Erica's permission to take that bottle. Erica just backpedaled and threw her friend under the bus when OP got upset. I wouldn't be surprised if Leah also thought she had permission to borrow the clubs. After all, we know Erica gave her the key code and gave permission to borrow the tools. Either way, neither of the ladies have boundaries, but this sounds like an Erica problem. Also, I would keep copies of the security footage, just in case, and change the garage code. Already have done these things, but thank you for the advice. I won't give Erica the new code, she has the clicker to get in and out, but I'm not comfortable giving her the code until this whole situation works itself out. If you can't trust your fiancé with your security code, you guys should see someone together before you get married, and have a lot of discussions on your future and how you both see things. Not wrong, but are you sure you want to marry this woman? She's either an idiot for letting her friend rob you both, or the two of them are in on something. Some second thoughts have definitely crept in, especially putting her name on the house. Just a tough situation because Erica doesn't have a ton of close friends. Now for the update. I want to thank you all for the kind words and comments. I knew after reading the comments that it was time to come to a resolution. I decided to drive home from work and talk with Erica. When I showed up, Leah's car was parked in the drive. I went inside and they were watching TV. I told Leah immediately to get out. She tried to argue, but I told her if she didn't, then I'm calling the police. Erica tried to get pissy that I kicked her friend out, but I said I'm done talking about Leah because at this point, nothing is changing with that relationship. Sat Erica down and showed her this post. 20 minutes of reading later, I asked her what she thought, and she said, "Those people don't understand our relationship or Leah." I knew then that it was over. I asked her to hold out her hand and I took the ring off. She begged, saying she is sorry and she'll cut Leah off and whatnot. I told her I can't even trust her with the garage code. How am I supposed to trust her as my wife? She's locked herself in our room now while I'm in the kitchen packing up her things. I called her dad and mom, telling them about what has happened, and they were furious. Leah is apparently banned from their house and has been since high school. I didn't know this, but her parents said it's been like this since high school. They are coming this weekend to get Erica and the stuff. I couldn't be any happier than I am right now. A huge weight feels lifted off my shoulders. I felt like if I never made this post, I wouldn't have ever seen how messed up my life had become. Sincerely, thank you everyone. Can't wait to take my clubs out and play around now that I have more free time. Really excited to see what single life brings and can't thank you all enough again. So the two girls are codependent. Definitely time to leave. His ex chose what relationship was most important to her. I hope she is happy with her crappy friend. I almost couldn't believe that she said that we don't understand their relationship or Leah. The only person not understanding anything is she herself. You don't understand is what horrible people say to get away with bad behavior. They try to make the situation seem different. Nope, OP understood things perfectly. That is why he kicked her to the curb. That, and it's just how he or she is. A blatant attempt to rug sweep lousy behavior. I am glad he got out before Leah robbed him blind, while his supposed loving fiancé held the door for her on the way out. What stood out to me is that Erica didn't want to spend time at Leah's place because of her sketchy boyfriend, but she was fine letting the same sketchy boyfriend into OP's home to act like he owned the place, be directly disrespectful to OP in his own home, and steal his things. The fact that we later learn that Leah is banned from Erica's parents' home for the same behavior pattern that has been going on for years and years demonstrates that not only was Erica aware of the behavior, she was deliberately facilitating it and was gaslighting OP. No, I get it. Erica is literally possessed by Leah. So happy for OP on having gotten out. You know it was never meant to work anyway when you feel relieved after they've left. Yeah, the reveal that Leah is also banned for Erica's parents' house was, yikes. This problem is clearly much bigger than it seems in the first post, and it seemed like a pretty major issue in the first post. Now for the last story. Am I wrong for getting my boyfriend arrested? Plus update. Original post. I'll just get straight to it. I'm a college student and this is my last semester until medical school. I've never been able to get a loan, so I've worked 5.5 years to get this degree because I have to pay out of pocket, so it takes way longer. I've worked 2, sometimes 3 jobs at a time, and barely had a social life. For this upcoming semester, I reached my goal for tuition, so I quit one of my jobs so I could relax a bit. I was a server and bartender at 2 bars, and has an office job, so I always have cash hidden in my apartment in my closet in a box, and before the semester starts in a week or 2, I deposit it so I can pay my tuition. My boyfriend sometimes stays over while I'm there or when I'm not, and since I've been saving for this semester, he's the only one who's been over. I've never told him about the box, but he knows I have to pay for school. Well, yesterday night I get home to put money in the box because I was gonna deposit it today, and it's all gone. I freaked out and tore my apartment up, thinking I put it somewhere else knowing I didn't. I called my boyfriend like crazy. No answer. I didn't even sleep last night as I was panicking. Then this morning he finally calls me back. I'm yelling at him about my money and he's acting all confused and like I'm crazy. He comes over and I'm still angry. Then after a while he finally admits he took it so he can borrow and that he'll pay me back. Where the heck is he gonna get $14,000 from in 2 weeks? I went into a rage and called the police and reported a theft because that is what he did. Well, it's been hours now, and I guess he got his phone call because his family has been blowing my phone up, and his mother has said some really hurtful and racist things to me. They've been harassing me for the past 6 hours now and it's stressing me out even more. And I hate that I'm feeling bad for him, but he stole my money that I've been saving for months. His brother did call, and he was respectful and said they'll help him pay it back, and I should just go to the police station with him and tell them I want to drop the charges. But I really don't believe them. I could do that and never get my money back still. I don't know what to do, and I hate that I'm contemplating doing this. I'm just really angry and have been crying all freaking day. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Do not drop the charges. 14K is a huge amount of money. His family are lying. They are not going to pay you back. Your boyfriend's first response was to lie. He only admitted the theft afterwards. They will take off and run, and you'll never see him or any of them ever again. Why would you drop the charges? He stole from you. He deserves to go to prison. Also, if you do drop the charges, it's possible that any insurance you have will be nullified. You might be able to borrow money from somewhere, but they would need to see evidence of your ability to save money, and you'll need the police report number as part of this application. If his family are banging on about paying the money back, tell them that they can sell one of their cars as soon as able and pay you back, as courts usually charge interest on money judgments. Not the idiot. You factually and accurately reported what occurred, and why you're now out a full $14,000, 2 weeks before you planned to use it to pay tuition. Your better-be-freaking ex-boyfriend was arrested because of what he did, not you. Stop speaking to his family on the phone and or in person, texts or emails only. You're going to have to recoup this money somehow, and your loss is likely too large for a small claims court. Limits vary by jurisdiction. Common reference point is $10,000. Unless he's sitting on the $14K in cash, there's a decent chance you will have to go to court to get it back. Depending on where you are in the laws there, his family's repeated promises to cover the loss may be evidence that can be used to pursue them in civil court to cover the loss, as whatever he spent it on likely isn't worth $14,000 anymore. You're well within the territory where you should be talking to an attorney. Not wrong. OP, as a criminal defense attorney, do not drop the charges. The court can order him to pay restitution, forcing him to give it back. Block his entire family and let the DA know they are harassing you. Very sorry that happened to you. You could tell them you'll drop the charges as soon as you get your $14,000 back. And then don't drop the charges, just block them all and move on. And take out a restraining order against him and any member of his family who has called, emailed, or texted you about this matter. Do not drop the charges. He stole from you and you have no guarantee that the money will come back. If his family really want to help, they will pay the money back to you so they can tell the judge he has made restitution for a better sentence. The trust in this relationship has gone out the door and it is over. Block his family on your phone. You do not need their harassment. Before you do, if you have any messages from them, save them and ask the police for apprehended violence order to prevent them from mistreating and threatening you. This, OP, please pay attention to this. Also, I'm so sorry this happened to you. In addition to dealing with the police and stuff, reach out to the administration at your school and let them know what happened. Hopefully they'll be compassionate, and at the very least defer your tuition payment date so you can start classes, as planned, without paying late fees on your tuition. Who knows, maybe there are scholarship dollars or a bursary they can help you out with. Also, I am so incredibly proud of you. Working your way through school like that is not easy, and you did it. I've already made an appointment with my advisor and financial aid for Monday. I hope they don't drop my classes. Thank you for the kind words. It's been hard, but I know the end result, it'll be worth it. And now for the update. Hi everyone, sorry I kept you all hanging for a while, but it's been a long and annoying process. I want to thank all of you so much for all the advice. Someone suggested when I go to school to talk to my emergency dean, and I am so grateful for you. With the police report, I was able to get my school to pay for my semester. Again to that person, thank you, thank you, thank you. I started a week late, but a week late is better than not going. Sadly, the harassment continued and escalated, and due to what almost happened and all the text and calls, I was able to get a temporary restraining order on his mom, which she quickly violated, shaking my head. After a few weeks, I was able to get a little bit over $8,000 back of my money, and his brother did pay the remaining back to me. Don't worry everyone, we didn't meet, it was through a third party. Also, like most of you said, depending on the state you can't drop charges after the fact, so I couldn't do anything after the money was given back. At this point it's up to the court what happens. We haven't spoken, nor do I care to. I'm finally moving in a month, which is a huge stress reliever because they won't know where I live anymore. A police report helps with a lot of things and I got to break my lease, thank God. Also, won't keep my money home anymore. Thankfully, since this is my last semester, I won't have to work my bar jobs anymore, so no more money in my closet. I think that's all I have to update you all on. Again, thank you so much to all of you for your encouraging words and advice. It meant a lot and helped more than you can imagine. I'm so glad they were able to pay for the semester for you in the meantime. A week late is 100% better than nothing. I'm glad everything has been working out slowly. I wish this situation never happened in the first place, but you're such a strong person for handling all of this with such grace. Good luck with this final semester. You've got this. Hearing the update makes me very happy for you. If I had stolen money from you, then I would expect to be sitting right where he is. Keep on looking up, and pride yourself on knowing that after you finish this semester, you will graduate debt-free and all paid by you and your hard work. That's something to be extremely proud of since that's a rare thing these days. I have no doubt that with your work ethic, you will be successful. Congratulations on getting this part of your life behind you and moving on to a happy, safe, and successful life.